It is June 22nd, 2022, and I thought I'd give you a look up here. I'm just about to the top on the port side, and I decided to put a 2x4 in here because I need to get this last plank in here high enough that I can cut it off once I get all the beam shelves, you know, at there, because they're going to have to be planed to the right angle and whatnot up there too. So I wanted to put a 2x4 in here so I can get a 2x6 now up here, and then it can be cut off. I'm just going to have to remember to keep my screws a little bit lower here. But I thought I'd show you how I'm doing this, and actually the 2x4s are pretty easy. I start out putting I've got a little shelf that I screwed to the planking below it that holds the board in place. That's of course this thing here, so it can sit in here. When I'm putting really long 2x4, like 20 footers in, and I'm working at the bow or stern where it's got more, the hull's got more curve, then I screw this thing to the side of the hull, and that allows the 2x4 to run, you know, out away from the hull, and I can get the first screw in here, and that first screw would be this one here, this bottom one here. Then once that one is in and it's in proper alignment, then I can get it lightly clamped somewhere in the middle to hold it in place, and then I start putting some blocks in to pull it down into place, because it is edge set, of course. And here's the clamp here and a block pulling it down for these screws here. But I'm going to have to be careful on these that have inside frames or inside shelf beams. I'm going to have to, they got bolts here, lag bolts. I'm going to have to be careful with that. But yeah, it's these 2x4s are a lot easier. Were I to do this again, I might just use 2x4s exclusively. A lot of times I have to pull this in, put a clamp here and pull it in too. But in these here, it's not necessary, because they're laying in position just fine. And this drill with a countersink, I think it's called a Fuller countersink, a drill and countersink. But it puts the proper, it's a tapered, and it puts the proper angle on the hole, so the hole comes in, shoop, to a point. So when the screw is driven, which is also tapered, it fits in there just perfectly. I tested it too when I first started this to make sure that those screws are going to be strong, and using that tapered bit and that Fuller countersink there, and yeah, they were strong. Next problem I got is I'm on my last box of screws. Yeah, I got cats on the prowl everywhere. My last box of screws. So I think I should get this side done. I ordered some more screws the other day. They shipped out earlier today. So I should be able to get this top one on here yet, but I don't think I'm gonna be able to start on the other side until I get my new screws in. Now, full disclosure here, I did put in a couple of Strakes. I think you can see here, see these shiny ones here? 2 Strakes here. These are not hot dip galvanized, these are just zinc plated. I had ordered a big box of 1,000 of these zinc plated ones, because at first I wasn't finding the hot dip galvanized screws, and so I was going to send these out for galvanizing. But then I found these hot dip galvanized at Tacoma Screw, so I ordered a bunch of those, but I was running low, and so I thought, well, we're in the, you know, above the water line, and I think these zinc plated screws probably would work fine regardless, because we're doing a hybrid hull here. This is going to be a dry hull. It's going to be fiberglassed over top of it. Will it get some water in? Yeah, I suppose some places it's going to get a little water will come in, you know, over time. But I still think these probably would have been adequate. But I decided I didn't want to continue using these, although I've got a lot of them left. Yeah. So anyway, so I got more of the hop dip galvanized, indefinitely below the water line. When I start planking the bottom, I'm going to want the galvanized. But so I don't know, when I go to switch over to the other side, when I get done here, I don't know what I'm going to do, if I'm going to use a few more of these and put a couple more Strakes on, or just wait until the galvanized ones come in. I might just wait until the galvanized ones come in and do something else for a couple days. They're supposed to be here Monday, and today's what, Wednesday, so Thursday, Wednesday, I think. But anyway, I wanted to kind of show you how I'm doing this, and then as I go down the board here, I'm moving these blocks, you know, to compress it. And yeah, here was a problem. Here's another thing. Here's one of the reasons you don't want to put two joints in the same spot. Not only does it give you, you know, a weaker joint, or, you know, a weaker section in here, but in this case, you know, there's bend in this curve in this whole hull surface. And so where these two meet, it kind of forms a little bit of a point. You know, these points here go down a little bit and down a little bit. So you get a little bit of a dip here. Well, by putting two joints right on top of each other, I wound up making a divot here. And this will have to be filled with thickened epoxy, and this little thing here I'll fix too. But so that's another reason why you don't want to put, yeah, you really don't want to for strength, but that's another reason why you don't want to put two joints in the same spot. And why did I put two joints in the same spot here? I only got 16 footers in this length. I was kind of loath to cut a bunch of them up just for spacing here. And being as this was the shear Strake here, I thought, well, maybe it doesn't really. But yeah, I should have gone ahead and cut it up. I was worried about not having enough to get 4 pieces along one Strake. I was worried about coming up short, so yeah, so I shouldn't have done that. I'm not going to take it apart and do it over again. And again, the fact that this is all going to be sheathed with epoxied with plywood over it, it's going to tie everything together, and I'm not worried about one joint like this here. Nor am I worried about these gaps in here. I'm trying to close these gaps as best I can. This one here, of course, was impossible. There's no way you're going to bend a 2x6 down into that gap, but these are all going to get filled up with epoxy, and then the wood goes on and glues it. You know, the plywood goes on and glues over top of it, and it's going to bind everything into one monolithic hull. So it's going to be plenty strong. Yeah, it's well, that one's not screwed in yet, but it's solid, needless to say. All right, that's my update for June 22nd.